You've been high on this Rockets team. You said they'd give the Lakers a tough run. I got to ask, who do you now have more confidence in after 2 games, the Rockets or the Lakers?
Well, Jen, I have more confidence overall in the Lakers, but this is why I said going into the playoffs, the winner of this series was going to win the title. This is why I said going into this series that this was going to be the toughest matchup the entire postseason for the Lakers. And what Houston is the only team in the league, not Milwaukee when they're at full strength or the Clippers or Boston, the only team in the league that if the Lakers play their A game can still beat them is the Houston Rockets.
Yep.
And I think last night could have been a good example of that, if not for the fact that Russell Westbrook was, a spy in disguise for the Lakers and really hurt the Rockets' chances. The Rockets present a lot of really tough matchups. PJ Tucker guards Anthony Davis exceptionally well. This game flipped early when Tucker got in that foul trouble. And the three-point variance, the Lakers are thrilled hitting 12 threes as they did last night. The Rockets hit 22 of them. They were plus 30 points from 3. The Lakers only won because, they have LeBron, and he was exceptional at the end of the game, the beginning of the fourth and the end of the fourth. They had an out-of-body experience from Markieff Morris with those 4 straight threes. And Brandon Russ had a really rough night. So I'm more confident in the Lakers than the Rockets, but the Rockets present massive problems, which is why I think this is going to be a long series. And Brandon, it could get tilted in the other direction if Russ gets it together.
Yeah, I'm more confident in the Lakers right now. Last week I talked about how James Harden is going to determine the outcome of this series. And I was wrong. It really is Russell Westbrook. If Russ was Russ, this series wouldn't even be close. Think about that. If Russ was Russ, guy who took the MVP trophy a couple years ago, who did things that we've never seen in this league before, if he was himself, this series wouldn't be close. Now, this is one of the hardest things to do, from going from player to broadcaster to analyst, is to talk about another player. Because you can throw film up of me playing for the Chicago Bears, you can throw film up of me playing for the Miami Dolphins, and I truly stunk it up. But I gotta call a spade a spade. Russ was bad. Russ was airballing shots. He was dribbling off his leg, and I love Russ. This is the type of guy you want to play with. But this was absolutely bad. If I'm James Harden, I go to my guy and I say, look, buddy, let's just focus on the defensive end. Let's focus on rebounding. You did a tremendous job there. But he's truly wild, tearing up this team's flow on the offensive side.
Yeah, so that's why, first of all, I have to apologize for sitting down only 20 seconds before the start of the show. I actually had to call a chiropractor because
15.
the Russ roller coaster, 15 seconds. While I was upstairs, I brought my chiropractor in from the city because the Russ roller coaster was extra bouncy. My spine was totally out of alignment after watching the up and down from Russ. He was airballing threes, and then he would make an amazing play that you wouldn't even see. Anthony Davis had the ball, and he'd steal the ball. So I'm like, is he having a good game, actually? Is the take that it's so unconventional, but he's keeping him in the game? The weirdest part, Brendan, you mentioned it, that air ball 3 wasn't even, the result wasn't the problem. It's the way that he shot it, and he kept his hand up, and he thought that was going in. Watch his follow through here. He's like, this is good. He's like, ooh, it's not good.
Because it was online. Don't worry. It was just a foot short.
And, missed it. Yeah. Just hit the net. Yep. So once I saw that, I was like, ooh, we're going to be in for a rough day. And look, at the end of the game, Nick, when they doubled Harden and left Westbrook open, he clanked one off the corner of the rim, and Mark Jackson's like, that's disrespectful. Yeah. Like, is it? He was 3 for 18 in the playoffs. So I don't know why we don't have the old post-Capella Russ where he's attacking the paint. Look at his attempts have been sliced in half. So if the three's not dropping, which it's not, and maybe it'll bounce back. Nick, if I was Russ, I was just like, I know what to do. If you're leaving me open, I'm just going to go downhill, attack. Either make you foul and get Anthony Davis in foul trouble, right, and sort of take the game to them.
He's throwing it off the rim when he does that, too. But he's throwing it off the rim. He's dribbling off his feet when he does that.
And Brandon, so here's the thing. You and I, because, we're social distance and you're in Florida at the moment, we have never watched a basketball game together. But my wife can attest, I'm a really weird guy to watch a game with because certain times the team I'm rooting for, someone makes a shot and I get upset. When Rajon Rondo hit that 3 at the end of the first quarter for the Lakers, I was mad. Yeah. And she was so confused. And I said, now he's going to shoot more of them. Now, Rondo, to his credit, played a very good defensive game and did good things elsewhere.
Yep.
But Rondo, you're open for a reason. Hey, Russ, same with you, bro. When Russ hit that 3 at the end of the third quarter, that was the worst thing that could happen to the Rockets. Because then he took 3 more in the fourth quarter. And so, right now, Russ had done a great job, especially once they traded Capella, of understanding they're not going to guard me at the three-point line, so I have to, if I get it at three-point line, attack. In the first 2 games against the Lakers, he's shooting 7 threes a game. That is something the Lakers will absolutely will take any day of the week. But I don't want it to be lost here while we're talking about what the Rockets did poorly. This was the 20th series, or what Russ did poorly, the 20th time in LeBron James' career he's lost game 1 of a series. He is going to be 12-8 in those scenarios if they win this one. And what LeBron has done on both ends of the court thus far in this series, he wasn't good in the fourth quarter of game 1, so he made up for it by dominating the fourth quarter of this game. But this guy is my age in year 17, and his chase down blocks, his two-handed blocks, he's blocking Russ's layup attempt so hard, I'm worried one of the small children watching in the family section is going to get hit by the basketball. I was worried. I'm like, man, that's exactly where the little kids are. They're all on their iPads, and LeBron's going to crush one of them. So, Brandon, I can't believe, maybe I should be able to believe it. I'm not surprised LeBron's this effective. I'm not surprised LeBron hit the game-icing shot. But LeBron's seemingly endless energy on both ends of the court, playing 40 minutes a night, leading the playoffs in fourth quarter minutes, and having to do all of this, that has been, even for me, Brandon, a little surprising.
Yeah, you shouldn't be surprised because we've been seeing this year in and year out. I thought the first game, LeBron, he didn't show up. I thought AD had terrible body language that first game. I actually chose the Rockets to win the first game for that reason. I just thought that, they probably would overlook the Rockets. AD came to play. LeBron was LeBron in game 2, and that's why they totally dominated this game. Now, here's another thing we need to think about. Eric Gordon played lights out. PJ Tucker played lights out. On both ends of the court. And I love listening to the broadcast and listening to him mic'd up. But this guy doesn't stop talking. He's the ultimate leader. Yeah, if I'm Russ, if I'm Harden, you got to lean on those guys, but you got to do your part. LeBron played good, like I said, Wilds. This game and this series can really go the distance if Russ actually be Russ.
So, and here's the one other thing that I do think the Rockets have going for them. They know exactly what their rotation is. They're playing 9 guys. Austin Rivers is about to make it, so they're playing 8 guys. Austin Rivers has just been awful in his limited opportunities last night in game 1. So Austin Rivers is going to be taken out of the rotation. They're going to play 8 guys. The Rockets are going to hope Scott Foster doesn't officiate another game in this series, and they're going to hope P.J. Tucker can stay out of foul trouble. Where the Lakers, and we are in the middle of round 2 of the playoffs, Vogel still doesn't have the rotation figured out. Now, some of that's Rondo was out. Now he's back. You had some injuries, like Dion got dinged, JaVale got dinged. But they still don't know on any given night. Is Dwight playing? Is he not playing? Is Dion going to be the first guy off the bench or a DNP coach's decision? And Rondo is, to me, such a massive X factor because when he is out there, the Lakers' offense typically is going to grind to a halt. So you have to find really creative ways to use him. Last night, there was a moment where the Rockets just stopped guarding Rondo. So the only thing you can do there is have him come screen for the ball because no one's coming with him. Then you can't switch the screen. If Rondo's going to play 30 minutes as he did last night, he's going to have to keep
That's
up
so
the extraordinary
disrespectful.
defensive side of the ball. What, Brandon? What?
Nick, that is so
What's
disrespectful. They just
Great.
totally they didn't guard Rondo. That's
They didn't.
disrespectful
They
for
didn't.
anybody
I
out
was
there
not
playing.
expecting the Rondo bash after that game.